Like you said.
Hey, well, nah, looks like just no. Big life.
Herman, no.
Yeah.
I need my wife.
Hi, how are you?
Ain't none of them. Okay. Appreciate you.
You see, how you doing?
Oh, that's like. What? Came in on that one. No, you don't think that's one of those good things. I don't want bad things. I started getting it. Hey, take down. There's a. This is my experience. Dinner camp.
A true dedication to be on it.
You know that. What did you call me? Hey. Man. Thanks for the Foundation A+.
That's what-
How are you?
The beard fooled me for a
Yeah, so
second.
we can probably put on a few pounds.
We'll be the Mark Dixon.
Yes, it's
Excited.
we got a quorum.
Thank you so much.
Proud to be able to be the second.
Thank you, thank you.
Understand Emily's not here. Yeah.
She's not.
Hey,
Are we on?
they're one of my assistants right there in the front.
You're fine.
You'll be good.
Anita, are y'all available?
Yeah.
Questions start. We do. We do. Gudger. Dutch is here. Dutch is here. Go on.
They're in trouble too.
Okay, we'll go ahead and get started with ed policy this morning. I will have the clerk call the roll.
Senator Butler.
Here.
Senator Figures. Senator Gudger. Senator Hatcher. Senator Hovey. Senator Price. Or Senator Shellnut. Senator Smitherman. Senator Stutz. Senator Chastain.
Here. Okay,
We have a quorum.
okay, having a quorum, we'll go ahead and get started with the first bill this morning. Clerk, will you call the bill?
HB 30 by Representative McCampbell.
Representative McCampbell, I appreciate you being with us again this week. Sorry we didn't get to your bill last week, but we have you here today, first on the agenda.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and I appreciate stepping back for my esteemed senator over there, and I'm glad you were able to get me here today. HB 30 is, and I tell people it's actually an economic development bill. And basically what it is doing, it is changing the terminology of a failing school. And we're going to change that terminology from failing and non-failing school to the lowest 6% or the highest 94%. This is a bill that does nothing other than that.
Okay,
Yeah.
Senator Smith,
Be recognized.
you may.
Representative, I first think that what you're doing is very good. I'm going to vote and support it, but I don't think it's enough. I do not think that this is enough. I've voiced this, a couple of these senators heard me say this earlier at 10 o'clock, so that's why I kind of look at them and smile, but I'm going to say it to you. When you come back up here with something like this, I hope that you come back up here with something that says that there is a unified score that you can meet. And if the score is 70, if everybody meets 70 or better, I just pick 70. then ain't no failing schools. You can never get out of not having any failing schools if the criteria is the lower 6%.
Correct.
And I give an analysis that I coach at Ramsey High School. Okay, been there since '85. Accelerated academic school. All right, I know that we may have 1 year, and it's generally 2 points separating what Ramsey does and what Mount Brook does, what Ramsey does and what Homewood does. Sometimes Ramsey is too high than them, sometimes too low, but the score moves. So if you measuring by, just say Ramsey have an 86 in English as a school, and the other school down here fails at 68. Now, that's your measuring. I'm just saying, like you're saying, the highs and lows. Now, Ramsey goes up to a 90. And they do stuff like that, you know, I mean, because them kids get their lesson. Okay, now you talking about over here, this school here go up to the 70. But what are they? Still in the 6% because they're moving up. No matter how they move up, they moving up. And they stay in the 6%. We need a score to say if they come out of 68 and go to 70, they are not whatever words we gonna change from failing or whatever. They are not that kind of school. At some point, we gotta have a score that's attainable to get you off, and not based on what somebody else do in some percentage. That's what I'm saying. So when we come back with this issue, I'm charging you next year to have that. Okay.
Yes, sir, Senator.
All right.
I
That's the
agree
price
with
for my support for this one. I want you to do that next year.
We're taking baby steps, so I'll take a larger one next year, sir.
All right, good enough. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Do I hear a motion?
So, second.
Motion to approve by Senator Hatcher, second by Senator Smitherman. Clerk, call the roll.
Senator Butler. Senator Chastain.
Aye.
Senator Gudger. Senator Figures. Senator Hatcher. Senator Hovey. Senator Price. Senator Shellnut. Senator Smitherman.
Aye.
Senator Stutz.
6-0, bill's given a favorable report. Thank you, Representative McCampbell.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman and members of the committee.
Big steps.
Clerk, call the next bill.
HB 364 by Representative Hurst.
Hello, Mr.
Senator
Chair.
Bell,
How are you doing today?
glad to have you with us this morning.
Simple bill. It just says that to go to a sporting event, you have to accept cash. And I've seen it in my neighborhood and some others where people go see their grandkid and have problems at the gate. I've personally bought tickets for a couple people on my phone, but some of them don't have phone. And this is to say, quit being stupid and you just accept cash for some of these grown people that want to take the policy of use the app, the app, and not take cash and make these grandparents have to turn around. We had a former school board member in St. Clair County that had to turn around, and he's leaving, and somebody else, another board member, saw him, and he was upset. He couldn't go see his grandkid because the person working the gate took it literally that if you don't have the app, you can't go in the game. And this is to just use common sense, use cash.
Thanks, Senator. Senator Smitherman.
Senator, most recently being yesterday, and when we came down Tuesday, Monday night, I don't mean blowed up, but my phone was active. And it was active because, as you know and I know, I support 100% of what you just said right there, what you're trying to do. I even shared an illustration when I was at the regional tournament in Jacksonville. And of course, that most folks in the public don't know that, but I coach Ramsey High School boys basketball. We're going to be in the state. We were here this year. But I'm up there in the lobby, really waiting on my wife and them to come. The team warming up.
The boss, waiting on the boss.
The boss. And I observed the same thing. There was a lady that had 2 kids, like a grandma or somebody. She didn't have no credit cards or nothing. And she wanted to pay, and she was had a problem. It just so happened like you did, or somebody, you just said, they saw her. Really, she was kind of walking toward the door, and then they went and took care of it. Now, I had to say that to say this. My phone was blowing up though because it's the perception of the administrators that provide advanced sales. And at Ramsey, we provide advanced sales. You can get right now, pay for the football next year. Like we got athletic banquet in this month and the presentation of the rings because we won state championship football. But we got the presentation of the rings this month, and people want to go, want to buy tickets, and it's a chilling effect because they think what we are doing is cutting the other options out, and now all you can pay is cash.
No.
Does the bill clear that up, what I just said?
What you do, the GoFan app, I've got it on my phone, still use it. But for those people that don't have that, and it's mostly, we see older people, the older generation, I guess I'm getting to that point now in my life, but the ones older than me that don't have, they have the old flip phone or don't have that kind of communication, it just allows them to pay cash. But I think the app's still the way to go. It makes it more convenient, easy. But this, you know.
Would this bill let them do the app or the cash?
Absolutely.
Either way?
Yes, sir.
Okay. All right. I kind of interpret that. You know, we're lawyers. I can interpret it myself individually, but I had to say that for the people who listen, you know, that's what made them call me.
Yeah.
So I'm appreciate
Still
you.
use the app, still buy the season ticket passes, still do everything else. But if somebody comes to the gate and they don't have the ability to pay with anything other than cash, they have to accept that cash and let them in.
I move favorable.
Second.
Move favorable, Senator Smitherman. Second, Senator Butler. We have a couple of new that need to be added to the roll. Just let's do the long roll, please.
Yes, sir. Senator Butler.
Aye.
Senator Chastain.
Aye.
Senator Gudger. Senator Figures. Senator Hatcher.
Aye.
Senator Hovey. Senator Price. Senator Shellnut. Senator Smitherman.
Aye.
Senator Stutz. 8-0.
Okay, 8-0. Bill's given a favorable report.
Thank you, Mr.
Thanks,
Chair.
Senator. Yes, sir. Clerk, call the next bill.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, ma'am.
before you call the next bill, doesn't F go before G in the alphabet?
Yeah.
That's what I thought.
Oh, we got it. Something out of,
I was trying to understand it, but that's maybe he's the vice chair, but then you call the others in alphabetical order. So, sorry.
we'll get it correct.
Education.
Thank you for pointing that out, Senator Figures. Yeah. Clerk, call the next bill.
SB 297 by Senator Barfoot.
Good afternoon. Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the committee. SB 297 is a bill that, see if I can find my glasses here, improvement in the charter school, public charter school law that was initially passed, as this body knows and the members know, in 2015. Since that time, there have been a grand total of 13 public charter schools opened over that 8-year period of time. 10 of those are startups and 3 conversions, which are here in Montgomery. This bill allows charter schools to set up an enrollment preference based on geographic areas. Those geographic areas include only students who have economic or academic disadvantages, such as I-3 Academy in Birmingham area, Jefferson County area. It does a couple other things. It amends the appointment process. Currently, the Speaker, Pro Tem, Governor and Lieutenant Governor have appointments or nominations to that board and commission, and this would make those appointments rather than nomination. It extends the commission's appointment terms from 2 to 4 years. I think all of you, maybe you're a lot faster at things getting up to speed than I am, but quite honestly, it took me the first 2 years to figure out which floor I was going to be on different committees. Sometimes I even question my sanity now and go to the wrong floor. So it extends those appointments from 2 years to 4 years. And in addition to that, it allows the commission to hire a staff member to work directly for the commission. It requires local school boards to apply to be authorizers. If they do not want to be an authorizer, they do not have to apply. It also requires annual training. Certainly, we want to make sure that
those school boards who are wanting to be an authorizer will continue and go through the necessary training that to maintain the continuity and the benefits of the public charter schools that we have. So I'd be glad to entertain questions to the extent I can. We've got a couple of folks here that I may defer to on some of the more technical issues.
If we can, Senator Barfoot, I think we have an amendment to offer.
There is
Correct.
one, and I
Okay.
believe you should have it in your package.
Right, field check,
And-
committee members, field check, and you want to explain the amendment?
If I could, Mr. Chairman, so this is a, we have worked with the school board associations, different organizations that had some issues or problems or concerns. This is an amendment that the Alabama Education Association brought forward to us, and quite honestly, we thought it was a fair amendment and is a friendly amendment, and I believe that addresses the concerns of the AEA. So.
I move for adoption of the amendment.
Okay, got a move by Senator Smithman to adopt the amendment. Got a second? Second, Senator Hatcher. Okay, any objection using previous roll? Seeing none? Amendment is adopted. We're on the bill now.
Mr. Chairman, I move for adoption of the bill as amended.
Okay. Senator Smithman moves for adoption. Senator Butler seconds. Again, any objection for the previous roll? Seeing none, bill's given a favorable report.
Senators, I appreciate the hospitality.
Good job, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, sir.
Thanks, Senator Barfoot.
Thank you.
Okay, clerk, call the next bill.
SB 181 by Senator Smitherman.
Senator Smitherman.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. This is, you all probably heard me talk enough about due process out there on that floor. And this is just the formality of the due process, this bill to provide it for the students as we do for each and every person. In fact, I made, if anybody's on judiciary, and of course the chairman he could verify me if you're not, we actually put into the bill, if you remember, members, I think Senator Fields, I don't know who else was on Judy, but we actually put in the crime bill, due process for the children who charged with crimes, major crimes like us today. And so what this really does, it just gives a redress for students to be able to have due process prior to being expelled on long-term suspension.
Okay, Senator, I believe you have two amendments.
I have one. I don't.
One amendment, okay, one amendment.
I have one.
Okay.
And I passed. Do you have a copy of it?
We have copies of it.
All right.
Yes.
This amendment.
Read the amendment, if you will, please.
Okay. The amendment says replace line 145 on page 6 with the following: adverse witnesses, except for students 14 years of age or younger who are present and offering testimony. One of the concerns that was raised. Let me stop for a minute and say this. This should give everybody a picture of this. This bill has been a 2-year work in progress. And last year, the majority of people in both bodies, in the committees, was acceptable with where we were at that point. That was the initial bill that you're facing now, the one that everybody at that point had signed off on. But in addition to that, the concerns, one of the major concerns that was brought out was the fact of the kids having to testify in person. And so this amendment is to address that. And the simple reason why it's 14 is because when a kid's 15, they driving and they got to man up or woman up anyway, at that point. But at 14 and on down, they will be allowed to send in written testimony, and versus having to be cross-examined by someone across from them because of that tender age. So that's what this does. It protects them from having to give.
Good amendment. You offering the amendment?
Yes, sir. I'm offering the amendment.
Senator Butler seconds. Any objection to using the previous roll on the amendment? Seeing none? 8-0. Okay, good. All right, we're back on the bill.
Mr. Chairman, if there's no other questions, I will move for favorable report as amended.
All right, move favorable. Senator Butler seconds. Okay. Any objection using the previous roll? Seeing none, bill's given a favorable report. Thanks, Senator Smith.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman and members. Thank you.
Okay. Clerk will call the next bills, plural. Senator Elliott, go ahead. Senator Ashley.
SB 249 by Senator Elliott.
Okay, if I can, committee members, what Senator Elliott and I have discussed in doing with his bills is he's going to take all 4 bills and just summarize, talk to us about those bills. And at the conclusion of his remarks, Mr. Alvin Briggs from the Alabama High School Athletic Association will make some remarks, and then Senator Elliott will get to close, and we'll go from there. Okay, so Senator Elliott, floor is yours.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, ma'am.
I thought you were going to say that Senator Elliott had decided to withdraw all 4 bills.
Well, we worked on that, but
You know me better than that, Senator Figures.
here we are.
You know me better than that. Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the committee, and those that got here a little late. I was worried about y'all, so I appreciate y'all being here. As Senator Chastain mentioned, the chairman mentioned, we're going to try to move through. It's been a long day, and I think I've been in this room for about 4 hours straight.
I've been here 3.
Yeah, it's been a minute. So we're going to try to run through them real quick, and then the chairman obviously decide what he wants to do with these. Senate Bill 249, 250, 251, and 253 are 4 of the 8 bills pending in the legislature right now that deal with the High School Athletic Association, not all of which are mine. Instead of getting into the merits of each one, I want to talk generally about them and the state of the High School Athletic Association in general. And I would submit to you that there is a crisis in the high school athletics. And I want to read you something, and I want you to think about where it's coming from, especially my other colleague from Baldwin County. This gentleman says, "We have grave concerns about the integrity of our association." That comes from a longtime coach and the superintendent of Baldwin County Public Schools.
Wait, that comes from who again?
Eddie Tyler.
Mr. Tyler.
Now, I'm going to submit to you that that the High School Athletic Association has lost the public's trust. I have got, and Senator Figures and I have talked about this in the last committee, emails and emails and emails and phone calls from all across the state from each one of your districts about different circumstances affecting their children. And they're really heartbreaking. And I'd like to share all of those and talk about all of those. We simply don't have the time for that. We have eligibility issues that punish innocent children by disqualifying the whole team late in the season for an infraction that in my mind could have been dealt with at the very beginning of the season. If there's a player that's ruled ineligible, let's deal with it at the beginning of the season. Let's not let the whole team play and then disqualify the whole team at the end of the season. All of us have allowed a culture and encourage a culture where teachers and teammates and coaches and parents are spying on each other and even hire private investigators to follow students and families around and notate and document their family living conditions. We have parents who work out of town to support their families who are told they must quit their jobs so their children can play ball at home. Do we really want the High School Athletic Association involved in family relationships and the parents' jobs? We have judges who are routinely, and I'm not sure if Judge Smitherman would like this, but I've heard of this from a number of different judges who are routinely told that their custody orders don't comply with the requirements of the High School Athletic Association, and the judge needs to rewrite their custody order so that child can continue to play. Can you imagine your parents going through a divorce? You think you've got things settled and you got to go back to the judge? Can you imagine how Judge Smitherman would feel if she was told that she had to re-enter a custody order? We have instances in sports around the state where we are actively discouraging play at the high school level, where students are electing simply to disengage from high school sports altogether and play club sports instead because they can't do both. Now, I'll say this, Mr. Chairman, I don't want to be here. As I told my colleague from Mobile in the last committee, we talked about this. My kids are too young to play high school sports. So there's no personal axe to grind here. This is just me trying to represent constituents and the concerns that I've had and heard. So my hope is that bringing these bills and shining a light on a number of these very well-documented, well-discussed problems that have led a former coach and current superintendent of one of the largest school systems in this state to say we have grave concerns about the integrity of our association. My hope is that by bringing this to light, that high school athletic association will take note and think long and hard about its policies and procedures. They've done it before. There have been a number of different cases that we've looked at, that we've talked about, that have led to subsequent changes in policies. And it is my hope that this association will look at some of the issues I'm bringing before them today, will go back and deal with them. I don't want the legislature, Mr. Chairman, running high school sports, but I can't sit idly by, and I don't think we should sit idly by and continue to let things go as they are. I thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thanks, Senator Elliott. Any questions? Yes, Senator Figures.
Yes, I do. May I ask the committee members if any of you have received any emails from any constituents about the High School Athletic Association? No, we're talking about now. When you say past, what does that mean? Okay. Anybody else? I know I haven't, and I think I'm well known for what I do for the children in Alabama as well as sports, because all three of my sons played basketball sports when they were in high school. But so, Senator, I just kind of question if this is so terrible and it's happening all over the state, how do they know to write you, but they haven't written their own senators and representatives?
Well, Senator Figures, I will tell you this. I think there are a lot of people watching this at home right now that couldn't make the trip to be here. But if you'll tell me what phone number you want them to call and what email address you want them to use, I can promise you you'll hear from them.
No, you can just share your emails with us.
I'll be happy to do that.
That would be fine. I just, to me, when it's a statewide problem in the way you're describing it, it's I don't know why all of us wouldn't have gotten something by now. That's all. And my other question is, as I understand it, the schools that are members of the Alabama High School Athletic Association are the ones who make the rules in terms of how it is to be run. Is that correct?
You are correct.
Okay, so wouldn't they have the power to change anything within that if they feel that something is wrong?
They would.
And I have to tell you, as a former basketball mom, if we, and my kids played on very good teams, two of them had statewide championships when they were seniors, one a junior, then the other one a senior. If we found out that there was this team that had an ineligible player that had been playing, yeah, we want them to take back all of what they want to, because they won it falsely. It wasn't right. It wasn't fair. So I don't know. I hate for us to use our positions to try to punish somebody with a statute, as opposed to going in a room around a table and trying to work it out. And from what you're saying, that it seems like what can be done. But then I still go back to the question is, the same people that are complaining are the same people who participate in making those rules by which they abide by. So I'm a little confused.
It's not an easy topic, Senator Figures, and I'll tell you, again, I'm not an expert on this, although I'm becoming more of one than I would like. But I will tell you, there's a lot of intimidation that appears to go on, and there are a lot of threats that appear to go on, and I'm not going to say that without being able to document that to you and for you, and make sure that you are put in contact with the exact people so that you can hear firsthand how that has taken place. So my point in that is saying, yeah, they may all be in the same room and they all may be able to make those changes, but sometimes they're unwilling to do so because they're concerned about the ramifications that may occur if they bring that
You
up.
know what that reminded me of?
What's that?
My GOP colleagues.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Thank you.
So I will put you in touch. I'm not going to say something like that without putting you in
No,
touch.
well, my thing is,
with the folks.
before making a decision like that, when people are being accused of some of the things that you have outlined, I'd like to, I need to hear both sides at the same time with them in the room. Not one listening to one over here and then the other one over there, but let them face each other and let the accuser, let the one who's been accused face that accuser and be able to answer to it, to get all of the facts and figures.
I think that's a great idea, and I hope that that is the result of all of this what we're doing here in the legislature. And I'd like for you to be part of that, very much so.
Well, I am a professional mediator.
Yes,
I would
ma'am.
look forward to that. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Senator Figurs. Thank you, Senator Elliott.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
At this time, Mr. Alvin Briggs from the Alabama High School Athletic Association would like to hear from you and your remarks concerning what we've just heard.
Yes, good morning. I want to thank you, Mr. Chairman, and the committee for allowing me to speak today. I, too, need to put my reading glasses on and have a couple of statements to say. I am not here to tick for tack. I want to explain a little bit about how our associations run and what we do as we deal with high school sports. I'm a little taken back by some of the things that Senator Elliott said. We are not in the business of intimidation. We're in the business of school based athletics. I want to just tell you that we did offer to work with Celia Elliott and offer to do some things with a committee and do those things, and we're still willing to do those. We have done those in the past. With that being said, first we have some educators here, former coaches and athletic directors and superintendent. If you don't mind, could I ask them to stand? They're concerned with it. Can they stand?
Sure.
Sir,
Please
y'all
stand.
please. Thank you, guys.
Appreciate you guys taking the time. Appreciate you guys taking the time from your day, and ladies taking the time from your day. And I'd also like to recognize one of my former coaches, Coach Goolsby, was on my staff back many years ago, and he moved on to the world of Auburn High School, which was a good move for him. Thanks, sir.
As Senator Figurs and Senator Elliott so noted, our membership formed this association over 100 years ago. Of school. It wasn't formed by the State Department of Education. It wasn't formed by the legislature. It was member schools. And in 1968, a federal court order merged a black association and white association to form what we have currently at Alabama High School Athletic Association. And today we have 418 high schools and over 300 middle schools. So we're involved with close to 700 and 80 something schools altogether that we have to monitor. Almost 190 students that our schools have involved in athletics. That went up to 190 after COVID. We only averaged about 150 students that would participate in athletics. And after COVID, we jumped up because everybody wants to be involved in athletics. They saw the need to be involved in athletics. They understand athletics. This past April, through our voting process, for the first time ever, we had 410 out of 418 schools to be a part of that process, where we had 79 proposals and surveys from my membership by these people behind me that voted on our membership, that voted on those proposals. We've never had, since I've been at the association, we only had over 300 once. But other than that, it's been somewhere around 150, 175 that participate in voting. So we have a very democratic process that we want to continue, that our membership wants to continue. A little bit about how we're formed is we have an executive board made up of 15 members from 8 districts. have 1 member from each district, 4 members from by district. We have a Department of Education member on board, and we have 2 females at large on our board. And we have 32 legislative council members from the 8 districts. The districts have 4 people that they vote to be a part of the legislative process. And with those 32 members, they're the ones that, with our voting process, that decide our bylaws. And we want to continue that. We're not here. Alvin Briggs, or anybody that's at that association can change 1 rule. If I change a rule, I'm fired. Just that plain and simple. If I deviate from that book in any kind of way, I'm fired. I have to go exactly by what our membership did. They don't give me the discretion to waver one way or the other. And as Senator Elliott pointed out, there are some kids hurt. I promise you, I can't sleep when I have to call a school the next day and tell them that I've got to take them out of the playoff. That's not something we want to do. That's not something we desire. And we do not like the fact that it is at right before playoffs. That is not what we want to do, because we know what's going to happen. He's going to get those calls. But I have to do what they ask me to do. It's not that I want to do it. I have to do it. And I can't deviate. Now we have, as he's pointed out, we have, not me, because I've only been doing this 2 years and feel like 50 after I've been doing it for 2 years. But I have seen where we have formed committees and had out, not by my request, but by our board's request, and I will go to the board and request this if we're able to, that we form a committee to look at the concerns that Senator Elliott has. These are grave concerns that me and my colleague right here to my right, Kim Vickers, we study all the time. We get to that office, and the first thing we do is try to figure out why are we having to do this? Because we don't want to. We want everybody to participate, and we want to be a part of it. So I ask this committee to please give us a chance through our membership to change these bylaws. We will take a look at them. I will ask our board to form a committee, as we've done before, to look at what Senator Elliott has raised, and we welcome him to be a part of it. We will welcome Superintendent Eddie Tyler to be a part of that committee. If he has crazy concerns, we want him to be a part of it. We've had that before. We've had people that raise concern to be a part of those committees. So we would ask Superintendent Eddie Tyler to be a part of that committee, or anybody he point to be that he wants to be a part of that. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Is there any questions for me?
Any questions from any committee members? Okay. Ms. Briggs, listen, thank you. Just a couple of comments. Being a former football coach and having a working relationship with the High School Athletic Association, I appreciate the job you do and have done. Didn't always agree with some of the rulings, but there was a process, as you said. If you don't like a rule, then have a proposal and let it go, before the Central Board of Controls to either pass or reject. But it would be my hope that as Senator Elliott has brought up some of these concerns, that we can have that discussion. I think, he has some concerns. I haven't heard from any of my superintendents or coaches in the district that I represent with any of these issues. But if he has, then I think we need to take those seriously and have these conversations and see what we can do to address some of those. You and I've talked about some of these things that, as times have changed, maybe we need to look at, a coach working with a kid in a summer program and not have the kid ineligible and not have the coach suspended. So, I would hope, that would be my hope, that in these conversations, as we move forward, we can find some common ground to settle some of these issues.
Yes, sir. I mean, as we did speak, there's a lot of rules we don't agree with. But we have to govern those. We don't have a choice until we get able to change it. But yes, we offer Senator Elliott the chance to be a part of that committee as well.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Briggs.
Thank you.
Committee members, any comments? Senator Elliott, I told you, we would wrap up with your comments here.
Yeah, and I thank you for that, Mr. Chairman. I appreciate Mr. Briggs' comments, and I hope we can work to make some changes or encourage some changes, look at some changes. I'll tell you that the legislature, in the last two significant rule changes that have been undertaken by the High School Athletic Association, both of those changes were made after this legislature shone a big, bright light on the problem. And the governor once in the Davenport case and the Oaklawn case. Both of those instances were changed by that board following the pressure from this legislature. And yes, that's how I want this to happen. So the point here and the goal here is to put some pressure and to see if we can shine a light on some of these things and make sure that the public feels like they're being listened to. There are 125 people watching this feed right now. That's about 5 or 6 times that ever does. There's a lot of interest in this, and I look forward to working with the High School Athletic Association. I mean it, Senator Figures. I really would hope that you join me in that. And I appreciate, Mr. Chairman, you allowing me the venue, if you will, to bring this to everybody's attention. Thank you.
Okay. Senator Smitherman, you had a comment?
The Davenport situation, that's the young lady at Charles Henderson School. Okay. Just an editorial comment. You know, we were the team that was not the only one, I think, Valley High School and us. It was kind of like a couple of teams that was involved as teams in that situation. And so I'm familiar with it quite well. And I just have to share this to you. In spite of all the legalese and everything else, I was just proud that when I went to my girls, at that time I was coaching girls. I coached girls for 25 years at Ramsey. We started the program. And after 4 state championships, I flipped over last year to the boys. We went to the state last year. But the one thing that I was proud of the most, that they did sit down and try to work through that. But at the same time, you'll be proud that I talked to my girls about it. And this is what they said. They said, Coach, we don't want to come in the back door. We want to come straight through them on the front door. So instead of being an issue, it wasn't an issue with us because they wanted to play them straight up, no matter all of that. And just for the record, we won. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you again, Mr. Chairman.
Yes, sir. Thanks, Senator Elliott. Members of the committee, I appreciate you being here and listening to this hearing this morning with Senator Elliott and with Mr. Briggs. And it would be, as I said, we're not voting on this. It would be my hope that prior to next session, we can have some conversations with both parties here and some issues that would be on the table that could be addressed and resolved. So if there are no other questions, we stand adjourned.